So, Craig Button made another controversial statement, which, is not very uncommon for this guy. We all know that. He usually formulates an opinion and then hard drives it into his memory, and it just does not leave his brain, and he sticks with that one side of the story for the rest of his life. We saw that when the Habs played Toronto in the first round a couple years ago. He didn't even think the Montreal Canadiens could win a single game against the Leafs, let alone 4 wins. And you know what? He was clearly wrong, because the Montreal Canadiens found their way to the Stanley Cup final. So yeah, like I said, he has really controversial statements, and he just released a top 50 U24 player list. Just in case you don't understand what that means, it's the best players under the age of 24 right now. He ranked them 1 through 50. And I'm not even going to complain about the other players, like Makar at number 1. I'll give him that. It's just the Habs players that I'm a little questionable about. And I'm saying this from a very humble and a Habs perspective. And having Nick Suzuki at number 4, I don't know about that. I'm not saying Suzuki's not elite for his age, but you look at the players on this list, and I do not think he is number 4 right now. He has Nick Suzuki 1 place behind Jack Hughes at number 3. Jack Hughes is younger and by far the better player already. We all know that. And yet, of course, he's under him, which makes sense. But there's a couple players just under him that I'm not too sold on yet, if I think Suzuki's the better player, especially for his age. Some of those players are like Rasmus Dahlin. He's been having an excellent season. But there's also players like Elias Pettersson and Miro Heiskanen. I do not think that he's better than those two. I think you got to drop him below those two players as of now. In the future, he could be the best player on this list for all we know. But right now, age-wise, player-wise, I don't think he's better than certain players like Elias Pettersson or Heiskanen, or even maybe Jake Ottinger, if I'm crazy enough to say. He's a number 1 goalie already and is already one of the best goaltenders in the league. Suzuki is not one of the best centers in the league. So when you look at it that way, I think Craig made some mistakes. Anyways, moving on from just Suzuki, we had 3 other players make this top 50. Those being Cole Caulfield, Caden Gooley, and Uri Slafkovsky. Cole Caulfield was ranked 15th overall in this list, and honestly, I'd bump him up a bit. I do think he's better than Bowen Byram. I could arguably say he's better than Trevor Zegras. I think they have 2 completely different game styles, but I think he might be a more valuable player. So I think Cole Caulfield is like 2 or 3 spots too low in the list. Meanwhile, Suzuki's probably like minimum 3 spots too high on the list. Now, after you scroll down a little bit on the list, you'll find Caden Gooley at 29. And honestly, considering his age, his rookie career so far, I do think that Caden Gooley is placed kind of perfectly here. Like, you could say he's better than Jamie Drysdale, who's 1 position ahead of him. But you look at the guys under him, and I'll go on full confidence and say he's better than all of them. You have Cole Perfetti right under him, Wyatt Johnston, Mason McTavish, maybe Kent Johnson's better. But you know what? There's all these players, and I do think that he's already proven to be a more valuable player as of right now for his age. And yeah, for the players above him, like I said, I don't know. I'd put him above Jamie Drysdale. But other than that, I think he's fit in pretty perfectly. Now, if you move a little lower in the list, you have at 38 Uri Slafkovsky, who is 5 spots ahead of his little rivalry in Shane Wright. And a couple spots under Shane Wright, you have Logan Cooley. So Uri Slafkovsky, first overall pick, currently ahead of the rest of his draft class. But like I said, there's some controversial players on this list. And having Dylan Cousins at 41, I know he's not a Habs player, but having him at 41 when he's like 21 years old, I think, and he has just over a point per game, or he's just about a point per game player, and he's at the bottom of this list, I think he should be ahead of like 10, 15 players here. So take what you want from this list. I think that some of these Habs players, more like Slafkovsky and Gooley, were placed just about right. But Suzuki and Caulfield, I think they could vary a little bit going up and down each of them. So like I said, this list is not perfect. It's Craig's list, no pun intended, but it's not perfect. You're going to have some players that are way too high, way too low, all of that. But yeah, let me know down in the comments what you think about this list. If you think Suzuki should be higher or lower. I think he should be lower. If you think Caulfield should be higher or lower, I think he should be a little higher. And same for Caden Gooley and Uri Slavkovsky. Anyways, that is going to do it for today's short little video. If you did enjoy, don't be afraid to like, comment, and subscribe. And with that being said, I'll see you all tomorrow. Take care.